Hey guys, once again, this is our self-assessment or home self-assessment series. Right now we're going to move on to the shoulder. So the shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, right? It's a ball and socket joint, and I wouldn't even say it's a ball and socket, more so floating, because the hip ball and socket is very deep, right? The acetabulum or the hip socket is like this big, safe structure thing for a lot of people, where the femur head can just sit in there and be safe and strong. Now the shoulder, the socket's more so like this, and the shoulder just kind of sits in there and is stabilized and controlled by the scapula. But a lot of people have shoulder impingement or restrictions, and that actually then causes pain whenever they lift weights or do things that involve their shoulders, right? So, like if you do a lot of bro workouts, a lot of bench press, that could put your shoulder at risk because your shoulder ends up in this position, and this position then isn't ideal for them reaching overhead or moving weight overhead. So, to assess the shoulder, the movement that we like to do is called a wall angel. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find a wall that you're big enough on, or that you're big enough to fit in a space. You definitely don't want to be crowded. From there, I want to keep my low back against the wall, right? So if let's say if I'm able to keep my shoulders on the wall, but I have to arch myself like this, that's no good. I'm extending through my lower back to compensate for my lack of shoulder mobility, right? That's not something we want to do. So once again, my low back is against the wall here. I want to then be able to bring my elbows and wrists against the wall. Now, if you can do this, you have some pretty good shoulder mobility without, now once again, this is no aches, no pains. Now, if you're in this position and you feel pain or aches in the shoulder, or if you can't even get to the wall like this, you have some restrictions going on. And that means that's an error that you need to correct. And you need some corrective exercises in your training program. But we'll talk about that once I finish the assessment. So the first half of the assessment is being able to do this, right? If you can do this, then you pass this part of the assessment. From there, you want to see if you can press your hands up in the air and go overhead while keeping everything connected to the wall. This is not a little, it's actually a lot more difficult to do because most people, if they start here, as they press off, their hands start to come off the wall and the shoulder starts to internally rotate. Being able to keep your wrist and elbow up against the wall means you have proper external rotation and shoulder mobility in that range of motion and in that, which is shoulder flexion. If you start to feel more and more pain as you go up, if your shoulder starts to rise and go towards your ear as you go up, once again, these are things we need to be wary of. These are things that put us at risk for injuries in the future. But once again, guys, this is the wall angel. I definitely recommend this for those who feel like they have pain or are curious about their own shoulder mobility. Of course, guys, like my video, leave a comment if you have some questions, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.